reminders on X for the streams, guys. So not everyone understand that we make in stream right now. They can join us a bit later, a bit earlier, and if you can share the link, it would be super super cool for everyone to gain views, to invite your audience if you can. If it's not complicated, then please do this. And let's start with some introduction. We're doing our spaces every Wednesday. We started on the months ago, and basically we talk with people who inspired us, who made a huge impact in art sphere, because it's interesting for us to learn from experience, and just talk with the interesting people, let's say. So also, Singular is a platform for artists, for collectors, for people who just interested in culture. So that's why we want to make this interactive element also with drawing today. It will be experiment for all of us, and let's see how it will be. But I will pass mic to Talf at first. Hi dear, happy to hear. Yeah.
Hi, thanks for having me again, and I'm super excited. Sajita is someone who I've known for, I want to say, 4 or 5 years now, and I can say in 2021 he was one of the people carrying the art space on Nifty Gateway, and just he's one of the coolest people. Like his backstory, the more you hear from him, the more you'll come to love him.
Yeah, thank you. Hunt, then I pass mic to you. Oh, we can hear you, Hunt. What did you do?
Sorry, I also have a man crush on Sergito. Everyone should. But hi, I'm Hunt. I'm just here to listen in and learn from some amazing artists.
It was quick introduction. Okay. Hi, Fair.
Man of the hour.
Yeah. Hi, Fair. Super happy to see you here. And you'll be drawing with us today. Super excited about this because I adore your art. It's super interesting. And also with a pixelized style. So, yeah, can't wait what you will show us today. But tell us a bit about yourself, maybe.
Thank you. So yeah, today I'm gonna be doing something with my pixel art style. And today I just launched my collection series on Cool Pixel, so I'm gonna do something related to that. And I started with NFTs in 2021, and I'm still here.
Yeah, and Sergito, sorry. We have actually surprised for you today. We will draw
Yeah.
you in pixelized style. And I hope you will like it. So hi, super happy to see you here. Thank you for your time.
Hi, thank you so much for the invite. And you can call me Sergio too, by the way. That's my real name. Sergito
yeah,
is just a
really?
name. It's a diminutive for Sergio in Spanish. I'm from Mexico. And my mom, that's what she calls me. And when I was making my Twitter account, I was just looking for a username. I wasn't really thinking of it becoming almost a personal brand. So either works, Sergio, Sergito, Sergio, whatever you guys. I'm excited to be here. Thanks so much to help. Obviously, long standing friendship, more than 4 years. So just happy to see everybody on the show today, and excited to participate. And I've been blushing just from the warm reception and the surprise. So thank you all so much.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, bro. Can you catch up some of the people that might not be aware of kind of your journey? Obviously, like the quick rundown is you just took possession of Meebits, the project, the IP, the contracts, everything from Yuga Labs. You've been a long-term supporter in the ecosystem, but can you just give us like a little background on what you were doing before Web3 and how you got in?
Yes, so I spent the bulk of my career from college graduation till 2021 working in Wall Street. I worked at Goldman Sachs and Barclays. I was leading sales teams in Latin America. And pretty much very different from now playing with voxel sculptures. In 2021, early 21, I was talking to my friend Raul Pao, and he had sent me a lot of stuff regarding DeFi, and I was trying to learn it. And then I saw somebody mention on a newsletter about somebody buying a CryptoPunk for $150,000 or something like that. And I thought it was crazy and that the world was going mad. So I went and looked it up. I had no idea what CryptoPunks were. To me, it was just like somebody bought a JPEG of a monkey, a pixelated monkey at that. And I found Discord. I had never used Discord before. Downloaded it, went into the punks group, and I just completely lost myself. It was a really, really deep rabbit hole. I keep falling down it. It's been 4.5 years since then. I bought a punk a few weeks later. In early February of 21, I joined the Nifty Gateway Discord. I met incredible artists, collectors, builders like Talf himself, and so many others who are now in the space. And then just became obsessed with the idea of Web3 communities as next generation, distribution networks, next generation, just organizations over the internet. Obviously, being an older millennial, I grew up with ICQ and Yahoo Messenger, and always jealous of the Americans that had AOL and I didn't. But the internet has been such an important part of our lives, and I think Web3 is that new economy, or the new economy on top of the internet, that it was an incredible opportunity. So I left Barclays. At the time, I was leading the sales team for LATAM, so I was responsible for pretty much all of Latin America, or South America really, and helping with Mexico. So Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Peru, that was my day-to-day. And then I joined Fireblocks, which is a big company that a lot of people in the retail side, the consumer side of Web3 do not know about, but they provide all the wallet infrastructure for the big institutions in the space. So everything from like Revolut, a lot of the big banks, a lot of the big projects that you hear, like RWAs, a lot of, all those things. You never know Fireblocks on the back end. So I got to do that for 3 years. I built out the Latin America sales team, and then I built out the Web3 strategy. And then I left early 2024. So that's last year, to start a company called Popset, which is a social media app similar to what now is popular with like Zora and Rodeo. We did it before in 24 on Solana. We were never able to get a lot of traction, and as that was winding down, I had the opportunity to buy the Meebits from Yuga Labs. Meebits are the third project created by Larva Labs. Know the CryptoPunks and Autoglyphs. Meebits launched in May of 2021, and obviously the market changed. The whole environment changed, and so they sold them to Yuga Labs in 2022, and I bought them alongside my new company, which is called the Meebit Company, or Meebco, which is funded by One Confirmation. It's a big Web3, or one of the first Web3 venture capital funds. And we announced that on Valentine's Day, and it's been a blast over the last 3.5 months so far.
Congratulations,
Thank you,
bro. Wow, that's a lot of history.
That's
Is this like a scary thing to take on, Meebits? Do you feel like, in comparison to some of the other companies you've worked for, this is obviously much more than a job, and there's a lot of people very directly relying on or capitalizing off of your work? How does it feel? What's the vibe?
It feels almost like destiny, to be honest. I fell in love with the Meebits, shortly after they released. I actually didn't like them that much when they first dropped. And I was very distracted. My sister was, giving birth to my second niece over that weekend. So didn't really get to pay attention too much. And obviously my punk maxi, I've been a member of the punk community since day one in my Web3 journey. And I was just too distracted. It wasn't until about a month later that I really had the opportunity to dive into the collection and really kind of like appreciate it for what it is. So, obviously Web3 came and went multiple times, multiple cycles, bubbles, different collections, different projects, up and down and so on. And I was always just, like the loud Meebits guy on the timeline, which, for 3 years probably looked very wrong if you're just looking at price performance. Obviously Meebits came in a lot. But now that I have kind of like the leadership of the project, is it a big deal? I mean, I think every single day we think of everything we're doing is, kind of just developing Matt and John from Larva Labs, part of their legacy, the fact that Meebits are their creation. And so, we're thinking 100 years out. So in that sense, yes, sometimes it's a little bit of a challenge to kind of like marry that with the day-to-day nature of this space and the demands of these communities. But we're also very lucky that the Meebits community has always been very long-term. A lot of the people have just loved Meebits since day one as well. Like my whole team, they're all Meebit lovers from day one as well. And kind of like just finding the right people, both within our collector community, our partners that have, a few partnerships we developed. We had one with SNGLR as well. Really, people that are here for the long term. People that are here for the art, for the tech, for the community, for just building like again this new economy in the internet. And in that sense, it's just a joy to wake up. It's kind of like a dream come true, right? I wake up and literally it's like the meetups, like I run the meetups, we run the meetups, which I would have never imagined it. And it's so funny because to this day, my old friends from Wall Street are like, "So what are you doing again?" I'm like, "Guys, come on, it's been 4 years. You know now what we're doing."
That's so nice. Today I started, searching more information about you to prepare to this interview, etc. And I found interview with the NFT now. And to be honest, I would just, scrolled at first on the middle just to check the vibes, how it will be for me. And I scrolled on the moment when you said like, who can be against memes? Who can not like pixelized penises? And I'm like, oh, okay, I will. And imagine for me, it's like complicated, of course, to find time at first and then watch the whole hour of interview, But I watched like from the start to the end, and it was so cool and it was interesting for me because the interview was like 2 years ago. How did you change during this time? And it's so cool that I still like see the same sparkle when you talk about me bits. It's really cool. And I want to ask you how you feel you changed during these 2 years because it was like bear market. And second, my question will be about community because you are into OG community, like true OG. You said like your first communication was CryptoPunks in Discord. So how do you feel you changed and OG community changed?
Sure. So first, that part was about crypto dick butts, which is also one of my loves. I love dick butts. If you're familiar with the actual, dick butt, it's an OG internet meme. And again, who can be, against that? So I love the dick butts. I've also been a big, big member of that community. They throw the best event every year for around NFT NYC. It's just amazing. So going back to the whole 2-year journey or 4-year journey, it's just been a learning experience, right? So just like life where, as you grow, you go from, being a first grader, you were like little and the new person in the school. And then a few years later, you're like a fifth grader, a sixth grader, you're like, oh, the big man on campus and the big man on school, or, you're stronger, taller. And you realize that life is just a bunch of cycles. Then, graduate elementary school or like high school, and you're again back to being like the youngest, the smallest on the school, right? You're the freshman looking at the seniors, and then you are a senior, and that it's another end of a cycle. And then you go to the jobs. And so now you're the junior person on the desk. And then, 10 years later, you're running the desk. So with Web3, it's been the same thing. I've loved to learn. So these last 2 years have been really instrumental in kind of like seeing other projects, seeing, amazing successes like Hugo Labs, right? Like they went from just a side project for the guys there and into like the fastest multi-billion-dollar company in the history of the world. That's amazing. And there's so much we can learn from that. And then obviously, alongside with the market and the macro headwinds, there were some things that they could have done better. So same thing with some other companies that were like, not doing so well that turned things around, and companies that maybe were doing a little bit better and went through their lessons. So just really absorbing a lot of that and trying to integrate it into my own, I'm not an artist, but it is a bit of like a practice. Being in Web3, the type of community and people that you want to foster, the type of things that you want to represent and communicate. And so, how I changed, I don't think I've changed. I mean, maybe made a lot less money in the last 2 years than the first year, which is always the shame, and I get reminded of every single day by my wife. But other than that, it's more like just really trying to connect with like people who are here in long-term games with long-term people, and every single day that passes by is a reminder of that, right? It's really easy to jump into like certain metas that, while they might be fun and profitable, deep inside, that they're not the best thing for the people involved. And the last 2 years have just been a really like a reinforcing exercise of sticking to my values, sticking to the things that I like, making sure that, whatever I do it from the heart. And that, with my experience, my background, my network, I can use those things to help elevate others, identify people that might not have had the same opportunities that I did, even the luck of being at the right place at the right time back in early 21. that wasn't because I was smart. It was just because I was there and happened to buy a punk and then realize what had happened afterwards, and using that to like now that people, it's a smaller number of people coming in every month, but those that come in, just really opening up our arms and trying to get people kind of like going in the right direction.
I'm just going to stop you there. Punks was not luck with you. You told everyone to buy it at $10,000. You were raising your voice, telling everyone in Nifty Gateway to buy it back then. So it was much more than luck. It was conviction for that one, I'd say.
Yeah, okay. I was telling people to buy, but also at the time for NFTs, that was a lot of money. Like $10,000. Like, it was my first punk was 6.1 Ether. I remember, I had a career in Wall Street. I had a good savings. I was shaking. Like my hands were sweating when I was buying that punk. And then I hit buy, and I was not used to using Ethereum, and so it takes a couple minutes for it to show up. And I thought somebody has stolen my money. So again, just learning from those experiences to now, obviously trying to help others when they come in, and just as well appreciate like the progress that's been made, right? Like Ethereum is a much better, much faster network. There's other networks that have popped up, people that are building in those networks as well. So just trying to align myself with the people that share the same values and the same outlook.
Yeah.
What are some of the best and worst things that holders, community members, or friends suggested that you do with Meebits when they found out? Like, give us the absolute worst piece of advice you got, like, inscribe them on a Satoshi or something, and then the absolute best piece of advice you got.
The best piece of advice, I mean, I've had a lot of really good friends. I'm just very lucky that I have a very strong network of people in different positions, and I can't say the best thing, but I will. Ian Rogers from Ledger is an incredible human being. His professional career is amazing. I mean, he's been every single step of like the technological revolution over the last 25 years, and I'm just very lucky to call him a friend. We were talking when I was negotiating the transaction to acquire the Meebits, and he said he's the one who really made me want to do a long-term focus on this, like really think about these as like a 20-year project. That was the best advice, and even though I had it in my heart that I wanted to do things long-term, there's a lot of other things that you could do short-term that maybe could give you a boost, but might not be the most positive things for the project long-term. And so that just really helped me to realize there's no rush, there's no pressure to do things right now if they're going to put the legacy of the Meebits at risk. The worst advice, man, I mean, I don't want to say it's the worst, and I'm not going to name any names, but obviously people want to extract value quickly. So I've had, and I wouldn't call it friends. I think my friends know me and they know what I stand for and who I am. But a lot of people reached out being like, hey man, just got to do an airdrop. You got to do this, you got to do that. Like ways for people to be able to extract value and not really align themselves long-term. And so that's kind of what has been the big contrast. And a lot of the stuff we're doing is short-term in the fact that, we did an integration that was pretty quickly with Player Zero, where you can use your Meebit in video games. I think that's incredible. Obviously, that was, we did that in 2 months, and we're very, very lucky that Player Zero, was ready to go, and we're able to achieve that quite quickly. But that'll be there forever, right? So, it was short term in the sense that, yeah, we got it done, and you can play. We have a game night every week, actually. Everybody's invited. You can come play with your Meebits or just with the avatars that Player Zero has, and have fun with your friends. But it's long term at the same time because we're showcasing the ability of Meebits to be those digital twins, your digital avatars in the metaverse and games and so on. So yeah, it's a contrast and definitely a lot of like, hey man, when are you gonna drop the coin? When are you gonna give us an airdrop? Hey, when are you gonna? People were asking for us to we raised a couple $1 million. People were like, boss, sweep the floor with that. I'm like, yeah, and then how do we pay the salaries of the teammates who are putting out all the great content and are like, we're throwing some great events here in New York next month. So it's people show you their colors really quickly, depending, like they make it sound like it's good for you, but in reality, they just want something for them.
You
Okay.
told a lot about community, that you care about community in previous interview, in this interview. So, do you feel like right now people want something different than 2 years ago? And what's your opinion about, yeah, again, community, how it changed, and how you feel right now? People reacting on yeah, some news, or yeah, your
I
project.
think I think people are no longer pretending to want something while they actually after profits only, right? I think even on like crypto Twitter, you can determine who's here just for the money, and maybe the thrill of it, right? Like it is, I'm assuming, a lot of fun to like drive up a token and make money off of it, even though some people are gonna get hurt, especially if you have a big following and so on. Like some people that I seen on the internet get a thrill out of that. I mean, if that floats their boat, okay. I think in 21 and 22, everybody was pretending that they were here for like the community. People were here to like interact and play with each other and support artists, when in reality it was just a front because people wanted to make money. Now, don't get me wrong. I think trying to make money out of like trading and so on is part of the appeal of crypto. It's the early PMF that we got with crypto, 24/7 tradable markets on anything. And so, yeah, there's an edge. And if you want to make money, you can make money, but you don't have to take advantage of people. And I think a lot of the communities also pretended that they were here for something that they were not. And whereas now we now have different buckets, like the people that are chasing the metas and farming and like kind of like chasing each other on tokens that pump and dump, and they're happy doing that. That they stay on their side. And then there's the people that are here for the art and supporting artists. People like Benny Redbeard, who's been like working nonstop for the last 4 years and really supporting and promoting artists, and he's here for that. And then there's people who are actually here for the art, from the artist side, who've been here creating day in and day out. And they don't have to have like daily practices like people and a lot of other artists, but people who are here through good times and bad times and so on, have been able to build their community. So yeah, I think the difference now is people that are like the Meebits, right? Like people love the Meebits that are here, regardless of whether we had taken them over and done a bunch of cool things for them or not. Like they love the Meebits, they love Larva Labs, they love what the product stands for. And I think as we move forward through time, we'll continue to see that, where the different areas of the Web3 community kind of like take their corners or their sides, and people are no longer just pretending to be like, oh my god, I love this new artist just because the art pumped. And that I think is just maturing, right? Like we went from 0 to a gazillion in 9-12 months back in 21 22. So just like, again, cycles. Now we know, like, the kind of people that are trying to just get you to FOMO into something so they can profit. You also know the people that are here just to enjoy each other's like friendship. For example, the punk community, we saw this, we went through this ourselves, right? The punks Discord was the center of the Nifty universe alongside the Nifty Gateway Discord. And it was open to the public and anybody could post there. Obviously punks have different colors. And it was like a place where, that's where I fell in love with the punks. It's like I went in there, like Snowfro of all people like welcomed me and was like an ambassador, like helping each other. It was really cool and you learned a lot. And then a few months later, when everything was bubbling up, people were just buying up punk so they could like mint out their like collection and rugged. And then it just became a shill central, to the point that it became like the worst place on the internet. And a lot of us left to a Telegram group that a few of us started, now has like close to 900 punk owners there. And now the punks Discord is token gated in certain channels, and that's where like the OG punks hang out. And it's gone back to kind of like that same feeling from before the bubble. And for example, the punks Telegram is a little bit more active on like the where's everybody today. Every single time that I've been in another city in the world for the last 3 years, I put it in there, and other people do that as well. Hey, I'm in Amsterdam, and a punk will be like, hey, let's go grab a beer. I was in Kuala Lumpur like very suddenly in the fall. A punk reached out, like, let me take you out to lunch. People come to New York, and I'm like, all right, let's go grab a beer. And so that to me now is the punks community, that it's evolved through time because we learned our lesson. If you talked about the punks community back in like May of 21, like people hated us. Like I think a lot of the big reason for like the early success of the the apes community was because people absolutely hated punks, because punks acted like fools, and they were just like, not everybody, but a lot of like the famous or popular punks were being just bad people, or people that had a high following will buy a punk to kind of like buy the social equity, use it the wrong way, and then it really hurt the brand. And so yeah, just a continued evolution of communities of people that have been in the space. Really, a lot of people used to buy 20 different NFTs from 20 different collections and pretended to be active in all those collections. Like it's humanly not possible. Even I only have 2 Discord channels in my work computer. It's the Meepco internal company Discord and the Meebits Discord. And even those, they don't even like move that fast. I don't have time to be like watching other Discords on my personal one. And the people that used to pretend that they're like active and like a fan of being in 20 communities, like it just did not make sense. So we're seeing maturing and we're seeing progress, and hopefully we'll see a new wave of entrants. And now that we've had this experience, we can help people find their voice, find their community early on, so people are like jumping around and losing money or whatever that might be.
Mm-hmm.
Is the punks getting together for New York for any events or?
Yeah, so the punks. So we accidentally created the punks brunch back in 22 or 23 January 22, I think it was. It was for Eat Temper. Isaac, who goes by Perhaps Rabbits, and a couple of other punks decided to just throw a little get together, and we had like 60 punks come out, and that just became a thing. We started kind of like doing punks brunches. Isaac took just a self community leader, started helping organizing different brunches and different events that he was going to be at. And then other people, when there was like different conferences around the world, a local punk or two will say, hey, I'm going to organize a punks brunch, and then we'll get sponsorship from companies in the space or companies owned by punks. And then when Yuga Labs took over, they also started helping out. But it's always been community driven. Like now that the punks IP belongs to Node Foundation, I don't expect any changes to punks brunches, because it's the same community members that are planning those and executing those, which is really cool, because it's kind of like that decentralized aspect to punks that we've always had.
Yeah.
Can I ask a punks question and then maybe lead it into Meebits? When punks were given their IP by Yuga Labs, it was obviously like a bear trend in the market, right? It wasn't the same kind of appeal as NFTs had previously when we saw the big run-ups, but we did not see a lot of punk-inspired products, businesses, or IP plays, right? We didn't see the Netflix special or, more comics. We didn't see licensing. We didn't see drinks. We didn't see a lot of fashion stuff. Is this a result of the times in the market, or do you think the IP had matured to a point where it wasn't meant for those purposes?
I don't think the punks IP was ever meant for those things, nor does anybody within the punks community wants to see punks. We have like internal like inside joke that like punk lunchboxes. We don't want to see punks on T-shirts or anything like that. And so that's why I think you didn't see any of that, nor do I expect that to happen. I mean, people have really built their personal brands around punks, G Money being one of them, and a few others. But I don't think it's more like this is who I am on the internet, rather than like I'm gonna turn my punk into a movie character and sell you products. That's one thing. Second thing, so punks kind of had their IP before Yuga. It was like you couldn't monetize over $100,000, but it was like gray area. Larva Labs, they're amazing engineers, amazing artists. They were not really into like the whole, trying to kind of make things clear on that regards. And the community never asked for it until Bored Apes, and everybody was like, oh, well, we have IP. How come you don't? But yeah, I even with Meebits, it has the same license. We're keeping the same licensing agreement with holders. Personally, I would not expect a lot of people to develop those either. I think they're art pieces. And so, punks, Meebits, autoglyphs, they belong in museums. Obviously, we get to have a lot of fun with Meebits and put them in games and do cool things with them. But they're not, they were never intended to be, individual brands. We're working to making Meebits as a character IP lifestyle brand as part of what we're doing at Meepco. But it was never the intention from Larva Labs. And that's why I think the community, especially with punks, just never sought to do that. One last thing I'll say, and obviously there's a lot of successful people and other projects that have used their IP to commercialize, is that a lot of the punks, punks are like high-end cars. in that you buy one as more like, this is my trophy piece. And so it's a very different angle from like, I'm going to buy this high priced NFT to try to turn it into something more. Like the background of the people that are buying punks is more like, they've been successful. They probably have, companies are running, or like really like, big jobs or whatever it is that got them the money to buy a punk. The last thing they want to do or have time for is to like, it's hard creating a brand out of something. It's like, okay, now I'm going to I was just waiting for that to go turn my punk into XYZ character.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. You also want to have faces if you really think about it. Like, I don't know what you could do with just a pixelated face, but obviously they've done a lot. That's why they're worth what they're worth.
It's really cool because you see like these pieces by Supreme and others where they'll take an art piece like the Mona Lisa or something famous and riff off it and make it into a t-shirt or make it into something else. There's Mona Lisa teeth whitening is actually a brand, and it's like very silly the things people do. What would be your favorite? Obviously, Meebits being in games makes a lot of sense. Meebits being in virtual worlds makes a lot of sense. Identity makes a lot of sense. Art-wise, I agree 100%. I think a lot of the classics in the space should be considered art. What if you could choose, or if you could guide a community member into doing something with their IP? What would be a product or a chain, or what do you think would be a good place where Meebits can be a brand?
Yeah, so just to be clear, we are working on turning Meebits into a brand as part of our job here at Meepco. And we were at the licensing expo in Las Vegas, for example, last week with a booth where we got approached by a bunch of different licensors who are looking for cool IP to put in their products. And so things we're thinking about, we will have something here on the merch side announcing pretty soon. We have another one of those coming in the fall. We're in the works with a very cool toy, for example. We're also looking at books, and then different types of products in that sense. With Meebits as a brand, rather like a particular Meebit themselves. As for individual holders, if anybody wanted to like really develop the personal one, I don't know. I think anything that is like, we have 4 pillars at Meepco, right? It's art and provenance, fun utility, tech innovation, and community. And I really think those 4 pillars for Meepco apply to any Meebit individually as well. And anybody that wanted to build a brand with those in mind, I think will be most successful, just given that it's really easy to use those as a foundation for making the case for the product, right? Like these are, if I were to use any Meebits or the ones we have on the screen, and say, oh, this was a digital sculpture created by Matt and John from Larva Labs. Larva Labs artworks sit at the Whitney Museum of American Art, at the Pompidou Center, at the ICA Miami, at the Toledo Museum of Art. And you can, buy this product that was created by them, or this particular product, your physical product that was inspired by this creation. Kind of like when you go to the MoMA design store and you can buy like a puzzle or a bag with like the Starry Night printed on it, or a t-shirt with like a Basquiat crown on it. I think along those lines would be successful. That's something that we're pushing on, kind of like the art and provenance of the product. They're not just, first of all, they're not, traditional NFTs, just layers of 2D that, somebody used a Python script to generate the rarity and the look, right? These are voxel sculptures that Matt and John wrote algorithms where, for the different traits, since they're sculptures, you can have, for example, certain hair with a hat. With the traditional kind of like 2D layer Python scripts that compose most NFTs today. And you see it in some collections where like, the sunglasses sit really funny over the over the hat, or the hat doesn't really work with certain hair. Matt and John, what they did is every single Meebit, like all the coordinates for the voxel positioning have to respect certain trait rules and so on. And that's why they're so clean, I think. And I think that's really what sets Meebits apart, the fact that they're actual voxel digital sculptures rather than just, cute Minecraft-looking characters.
Mm-hmm.
How are they generated? What's the, is it still a regular generation process for a 3D asset, or how are they generated?
They were generated with an algorithm where, similar to punks, right? They set certain rarity. Call it just, there's got to be no more than or no less than X amount of dissecteds, for example, right? There are 5 dissecteds. They're rarer than alien punks. And for the dissecteds, obviously they're all bald. So the algorithm knew that if you pulled the dissected, it couldn't have hair. And the algorithm itself would be like, okay, this one, for example, that you have on screen here on the top left, that one is actually Snow Froze dissected. So it's got a basketball jersey. So the algo knew that, okay, the randomized basketball jersey, great. So this voxel goes in this position. This voxel goes in this position. So it's more, again, like sculpting rather than just, kind of like putting a bunch of layers together. So for example, the camel print you have here on the bottom right, this female with the gray hat, she's got camel print pants. So all the camo is generative itself, which means that no Meebit wearing camo has the same print as any other Meebit, which in itself is really, really cool and actually more generative than 99% of collections just in one trait, right? So what the algo did was like, okay, this Meebit, female Meebit is going to they have different dimensions than the men. It's going to be wearing pants, camo print. Okay, so then there was another algorithm that generated a block with the random placement of the camo, different colors themselves. And then it kind of like took away everything that was extra and left the pants behind. So it's really, really cool. We actually did a podcast with Matt and John. You can find it on YouTube under the Meebits podcast or Spotify. They spent an hour talking precisely about how they came up with the traits, the inspiration, and then the process for creating them. And they start like dropping names of crazy math algorithms that I cannot remember off the top of my mind. But I would invite everybody to look it up. It's our first episode with Matt and John there on the Meebits podcast.
Dope. Thank you. And are they generated in 3D?
Yes.
Wow.
Software called Magic of Voxel.
So that was the first, eh? That was the first collection.
First and only one so far, I think.
I remember, I think Galaxy Eggs did it with their own algo after, but I don't know if it's the exact same. But I remember they were touting being the first, and I had a few people telling me about Meebits even back then. That's dope.
That's why I love it, man. I think that it's hard to find this level of attention to detail and craft in the digital space, especially in like the whole PFP category, where every single detail of the Meebits is comes down to stuff like what I just said. For example, the glasses, the 3D glasses, they're actually see-through, like actual real glasses. So my personal Meebit has 3D glasses. When we pull up the model, you can, if you put like the light source on like Blender in front of it, you can see the eyes behind the glasses.
Korea, that's cool.
Amazing. And also, of course, every Meebit comes with a 3D model. So if you buy a Meebit, you connect to the Meebits app, and you can download the models in like FBX, GLV, VRM, and a bunch of other extras that Matt and John created. So to me, that's the real art of the Meebits. Is when you buy a punk, you get your token. All it does, it points to the image of the 10,000 punks, and it literally tells you own punk number so and so, which sits in row A and column B, whatever, and that's the punk you own. But the punk tokens all point back to the exact same hash with the 10,000 punks. Obviously, the dApps can like read that and will show you your particular punk. With Meebits, what you own and the token is the access to these digital sculptures. Like you really, you can't touch them. You can 3D print them, but it's really just like digital voxel sculptures that Matt and John created. And then when you buy a Meebit, you get access to them.
What is your favorite trait or character, maybe?
In Meebits, the full suits. So yes, so there's a bunch of Meebits. They're like the Zoom Meebits because they have a shirt and tie at the top, but not all of them have the suit pants. There's only 500 total Meebits in the collection that have a full suit. And this obviously reminds me of having to wear a full suit and tie to work for 12 years on Wall Street. They're pretty cool. And the way to find them on the different marketplaces is to search for pants and then suit pants. Because if you do the suit top, you can, you're not going to get just those. You're going to get like all the punk rocker Zoom Meebits.
Did you onboard your Web2 friends to Meebits, and yeah, how people right now reacting? Because before I know that you said people, was super skeptical. They laughed at people who spending a lot of money on the picture. So how it's now for you and about your environment?
To be honest, I onboarded a lot of people back in 21 and 22. She made a lot of people a lot of money, which was nice. And but it was mostly what I would do is tell my friends to, download Coinbase, send me Ether, and then we would buy like a couple of NFTs for like a mini fund. So we did that with Mutants, for example, and then obviously got the Apecoin drop and made people money. And then a couple of friends bought punks individually. And then a couple of them bought Meebits back before I acquired the IP, or we acquired the IP. I haven't really tried to get people to buy Meebits this year. And that's just because, honestly, I've just been way too busy doing what we have to do to build up the Meebits. Yeah, and people ask, my mom asks me all the time, ¿Cómo están tus Meebits? But this isn't the curious way. It's Meebits with an I instead of like double E. But I don't know, man. I think people are gonna buy crypto at the price that they deserve to buy crypto, and that includes NFTs. I mean, everybody in my circle and my like Web2 friends know I'm obsessed with Meebits. My Instagram, even though it's private because I don't use it for family and friends, yeah, always posting about Meebits and sharing some of the wins. We just launched the Jiffy account last month. We hit 1 million total views last week, and then had a GIF go viral this weekend, and we're now at 5 million total views. So it's kind of stuff that everybody's sharing their pictures from the Hamptons, and I'm sharing screenshots of like our engagement on Jiffy. And so everybody knows, and they know if they want to buy a Meebit, where to find me if they need help. But I haven't really been like, yo, go buy a Meebit. Like it's not. I don't think it's a way to onboard. It's more so show them what's awesome about them, and then when they're ready, they know where to find you.
I feel like a lot of people, they went to, building their own project, and right now it's really complicated to find to catch the attention on your project because everyone is super busy, but at the same time, everyone realized, yeah, that building your own brand it's not as simple as before, and also it's took so much money, so like it's so expensive actually to build something. So that's why people super focused on their own project. And yeah, how you gain attention on your project right now, and do you want to expand this attention on bigger audience? What's your plan on it? Like how you like, because spaces is still a thing, that's the easiest way I think to catch the attention, to build a community around your project, to just talk with people. And yeah, how you will do this? How is how are you doing right now? And what will you do? For example, collaboration with Abstract or something like this. And yeah, what's your plans?
Yeah, so obviously the Web3 native stuff we've been doing, jumping on spaces with friends that have them, and webcasts like this. Again, appreciate the invite. I think for us, the answer is just really like build what the Meebits, like build up their potential, right? Like they deliver the potential of the Meebits. And again, goes back to the 4 pillars that we've developed. Remind folks that these are a Larva Labs project, and really take them to learn about their creation and what's so cool about them. Deliver fun utility. So the gaming integration, I think, is really, really dope. And to your point, attention is hard to come by. So I think just having a certain level of cadence and consistency, like we're having game nights every week, just to show how cool the Meebits are, but also to bring our community together. And then little by little doing more IRL events. So we have a really cool activation in New York for NFT NYC. We're going to have a Meebits lunch in Lisbon next week for NFC Lisbon. And then we're going to have an event around Ape4 in Vegas. So I think slow and steady wins the race, trying to win the attention games on a short-term basis. Usually brings the wrong crowd, in that they're just, ephemeral attention, and we're trying to build a brand here for the next 20 years. So it's more of delivering on what our community, what people who like the Meebits think the Mivits should be, and slowly building that in the right way so it leaves a long lasting legacy, and it's not just like, hey, we were at the top of like XYZ InfoFi board for 3 days and then everybody forgets about you, moved into the next thing. So combination of things, right? Like partnerships and doing cool shit, and then just being authentic. Finding people that like the Mivits as much as we do, or are inclined to like the Mivits as much as we do, and just bring them in.
You mentioned them all being sculptures as such. So I'm quite curious, like in 20 years, how do you see these evolving? Because you're referring them as sculptures. Like, do you see them as just remaining purely physical, digital, or do you see them emerging into physical too?
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, first of all, we're going to live in a much more digital world. I don't think we can even imagine the kind of world we'll be living in 20 years. If you think about it, right, we already kind of have a very early version of Ready Player Me. Ready Player One, sorry, Ready Player Me is the company that built Player Zero. Ready Player One, that book and that movie where people log into Oasis, as their metaverse is called, and put on a VR set, haptic suit, and really go about their days in the virtual realm. All of us here do that already, right? We log in, like Sergito is a version of me, but it's not, the Sergio Silva who lives in Manhattan and, does things in the physical way. It's a version of me online, and I'm sure all of your online personalities are a version of you, but they're not like 100% who you could be in the real world. And then we have our avatars, right? Everybody uses their PFP, even if that's a picture that of you. It's still an avatar. That's what you are choosing to show the world. You can always change that. And then we do commerce, we do communications, we do interaction, we do entertainment. Like people do dating through this like little like virtual world. And so fast forward 20 years, like I don't see why, it's not like we're gonna live like that. I hope not, because that was the result of like some big war. But I don't feel like we're gonna be less digital than we are today. If anything, we're gonna be more digital, where instead of being on this, I'm sorry, my dog is like being annoying. I don't know if you can hear it. As I'm sitting in front of a screen with a webcam and a microphone, maybe it will be like a VR set. Maybe it will be like a immersive room or something. I don't know. But in that realm, like who's going to represent us? I'm pretty sure, a lot of people are going to choose a cool digital avatar in lieu of their, personal real bodies. I mean, we see it in day to day. Instagram is full of like fake pictures of everybody, right? Like everything's photoshopped, retouched, filter, post in a way that makes you look like you have, bigger arms, bigger butt, like whatever it might be. Like humans love to use avatars. Look at art history, right? All the paintings on the walls, everybody's ripped in those paintings from like the Renaissance. Like, are you kidding? Like they're not ripped like that. Everybody's a little lighter skin color than they were. Jesus, his avatar is like white skin. I mean, dude was from like the Mediterranean area, right? Like, there's no way he was that white. So that whole idea of like using avatars, I think, is just part of who we are. You marry that with the digital realm, and so yeah, I think Mivits are going to be super desirable. Like, yeah, I want to be. Imagine being like a dissected in that virtual world where there's only 5 of those tokens. Punks are trading for like $5 million each, and the dissect is rarer than an alien punk. And by the way, it's who you are in this world, and you're walking around that everybody knows that. Like that is, I think, incredible, and I think that's going to generate demand for different avatars, new avatars, other collections, and yeah, that's what I expect. But then we're still human. We still like to hold things, touch things, smell things, see things with our own eyes. And yeah, we want to have actually Matt and John, like one of their goals is to have like Mivit sculptures be like costs, right? Where you enter into like a corporate lobby of a building and you see a big ass Mivit sculpture and you immediately recognize the artist. I think for them that will be a great part of their legacy, and they've expressed that to us that they would love to work towards that one day. And so yeah, that's one thing that we also want to do. From little 3D printed Mivits, like the one I have here, to just ones that you can have like all the different cool modern art sculptures that you can buy on like the MoMA Design Store and so on, to have that personal connection with your Mivit.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for your answer. And sorry, I was distracted by chat. And my question is also, will you try to create something, like small Meebits collection, with a lower price for your brand, because it will help to attract new audience, that can afford right now maybe, but you can like grow with this audience and to try rise this audience to the level of big collection. And do you see like it's a thing for you, or you will be focusing on building on the high level of standards that everyone will join Meebits even with this price, because you have like 20K collection, that's wild, and the price is still 0.8, which is huge, like which is still expensive for such a like collection with this supply.
Yeah, so to answer your question, I'm not planning on expanding the collection at any point in the near future. It's not our plans. Obviously, down the line, if maybe it's our $1 million each, that's a different conversation. I think 20,000 is really small over the long term, but today is really big. And so we've designed a way to bring people into the Meebits community through what we call the bits or bits points, which is our reward system. People that have a Meebit today earn bits every single day just by holding their Meebit. But also, if you like buy or sell Meebits on OpenSea, you can earn bits. If you participate in the different drops that we have, like this wearables collaboration that we did with Player Zero, you can earn
That's
bits. And so we will have other ways of earning bits where you can be part of the community in that sense, and be rewarded and participate in like the activations that we do. But for now, we definitely want to work on making sure that we only have 6,400 wallets for 20,000 units. We have a lot of really large whales that, while I love them, I really want that distribution to get closer to like the 55-60% like you see in other collections. And so yeah, that's going to be our focus as well. With just there's a lot of Meebit holders for been holding for a long time, so just really want to entertain them, bring them value, and just kind of like make them happy. Which, by the way, like the company holds 800 Meebits. Our director of tech, Token Juggler, holds over 50 Meebits. I hold close to 50 Meebits myself. And our other teammates also have multiple Meebits. So we are our target audience. Like, I don't know that there's a lot of other projects where not only the company, we didn't mint the Meebits to our wallet. Like, we literally paid Yuga Labs a nice chunk of change for 800 Meebits alongside the IP. And then personally, for the last 4 years, all of us have been collecting Meebits. I just bought another Meebit over the weekend for myself, and Token just bought another Meebit this morning because we just like them that much. And the fact that we own them, if anything, makes us even more, willing to be aligned with the future of the Meebits.
I love it so much because when I joined Azuki community, I noticed that guys like just like me, we're living on OpenSea page and just scrolling all these trades and everything, and it's like process that like not non-stop, and everyone doing it. So I'm like really excited about you, that you still, after all the years, you're still collecting from your own right now collection. That's wild, actually. Yeah. So you said about interacting your community, and you really appreciate memes and meme culture, and will you try to memify the project, or yeah, you can say so, and create something in this way?
Yeah, so I think memes are just, kind of like the sign language of our generation. Again, we all grew up on the internet.
Yeah.
We all grew up with I'm sure there's 100 pictures that if I show you, you knew exactly what I wanted to convey without using any words, pictures, images. And so to me, those are memes, right? And I love them because I love human nature and I love human behavior and just watching people and how they react and interactions. So that's what I mean by I love memes. So I love like a particular, like a Pepe kind of thing. I appreciate them for what they are as part of this kind of just tapestry of sign language, if you want to call it that, like our modern day hieroglyphs. Well, we tried to mimic it. So personally, I built a edition art collection called Seize the Meeps back a couple of years, where we did edition Meebit art
Mhm.
from like really cool artists. and that was awesome. I think meme wise, I mean, we have a lot of GIFs that we've created. I mentioned the account just hit 5 million views. A lot of those are just recreation of your more like traditional memes, and we'll continue to put out some of those. But besides that, I think it's just, it's part of the toolkit, but not really something that we're like, oh, like we're really going to memify the Meebits in that regard.
Yeah.
Talking about memes, like Hunt loves throwing up dabs on voice calls. I don't know why he's not doing it on this podcast.
I couldn't hear you.
Hunt, he loves throwing out dabs. He hasn't done any this podcast though.
Got it.
But yeah, with memes, like you were on about them, season memes. I don't know if you want to go into a bit more detail on them.
Yeah, so System Memes was a collection that was inspired by Rare Pepes and the 6529 memes. I've been really vocal since the beginning that Meebits are art. That's, again, one of our main pillars. And so back then I saw an opportunity to, people were really into additional art. So we have a lot of artist friends, and I asked them to make different art pieces featuring Meebits. And it was really cool. Obviously, it was the meta of the day, so a lot of people ended up paying too much in secondary for pieces, which obviously nothing that we can do about it. But I think majority of the pieces in the collection are above above the mint price. But yeah, of course, back then people were minting like 1,000 things of just anything, and yeah, some people not have the best memories of it. But I love the collection. It's like it has works by incredible artists like Jack Kaido, Neurocolor, Ovek, Brendan North, Pia. It's just so many. We had like 50 pieces made out of like with Meebits on them, which it's really just too much. It was my way of saying, hey guys, you got to look at Meebits in a different perspective. Like they are digital sculptures, they are pieces of art. Let's use them that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, about memes, I super agree with you, and I thought like many times that if we could understand each other like from memes from different countries, we would be much friendlier, with each other, because memes literally can open you a nature of the human in general, So I super agree with you, and also I think that's the way the another way to expand like attention to your collection, because that's why, for example, Pacha Penguins doing with this TikTok, and everything, and my mom sending me stickers of Pacha Penguins, when it's eating or something like this. I was super surprised. So, will you try to do something like on this audience of memes or something like that, and maybe try different platforms?
Yes, so the answer is yes, right? Like we want to build, like I said, the Meebits into a character lifestyle brand. So we will attempt different avenues. I think one of the funny things is, Pudgies, Apes, everybody else, they've been around for much longer than we have. It's been 3 months for us. And like I'll give you an example. Like we haven't been able to fully take over the website from Yuga Labs because obviously all the Yuga Labs tech infrastructure supports like 5 other properties, right? Bored Ape and other side, and so it's hard to like unplug those and pass it over. So we've been really patient with trying to make sure that we're ready to do certain things. And so, as I mentioned in the beginning, best advice I've gotten was like be patient. No need to rush into everything that everybody's done or delivered, and that is part of that. Like we'll get there, and when we do, I'm excited to see the Meebits in that light.
Yeah, and my question is also you said like brilliant thing on the previous like podcast that I saw, that human nature is that we really love to see ourselves, so that's why you're trying to bring this digital identity to everyone with the Meebits and everything. But it's so hard, it's so complicated to build in different directions, because you said it's art, Meebits it's art, right? Maybe it's a game, maybe Meebits community, like what is the main focus will be for you? Because you can easily go to galleries with Meebits, right? And made it your own, like your main direction, make it like as art and everything like this. You can go to like video and this creation in video games and everything. So do you feel like it's like different stuff, or how you will build this focus on digital identity? Like what's the plan, because I highly believe it's impossible to run in many directions, and that's why a lot of projects before, they, like, we can say they are wrecked. I think people just didn't expect that it's so hard and so expensive to build. So that's why right now people are more focused on something one. And in Web3, it's, basically it's narrative right now. You need to find your niche, even if you don't like it. It's simpler for you because we exist in bubbles, in different bubbles. We talked with Bowser about this yesterday. So yeah, what's plan? What's the main direction for you? How you see this to
Yes.
bring your own?
So we're still doing a lot of experimentation, and we're going to allow ourselves to do that for a while to really find what resonates. I mean, we're not really building for like the Web3 crowd per se, because like we talked about at the beginning, I think the majority of the Web3 people are here for like the flip, the airdrop, and that's great. That's awesome. It's not, nothing against that. I think we've all been there, but I think the value of the Meebits is different. And so we're experimenting. As I mentioned, we're in a licensing expo in Vegas last week. We went with pretty much no expectations. We just wanted to show the Meebits to a group of people that are in that licensing professional world and see what their reaction were. And it was awesome. And people were like, "Hey, let's talk." We have 15 follow-up calls, and so we're I don't want to say testing the waters, because it's not the case. I think we have a very clear idea of the directions that we want to go. It's more so, what can we achieve with the resources that we have today? What would really be welcomed by the community today that doesn't, disappoint them or doesn't just cheapens the work, while at the same time keeping cards close to our chest. I think, to your point, a lot of projects wrecked themselves because they overpromised, because they were like, obviously it was a different world with royalties when they were live, and it was a ton of money. Like, I wish we had royalties, because we would have made $1 million in the last 3 months. But we haven't. We've made $60K of royalties. In that type of environment, consciously or subconsciously, projects were incentivized to say things to not make the number go up really, but just have things trade. And because every single transaction meant 5% for the corporate industry. And so a lot of projects, and again, used the opportunity to learn from them. Like, all they did was talk and talk and talk and talk, so people will trade and trade and trade and trade. And then they built this castles in the skies of promises that they didn't know they could deliver. So what you'll get from us is just a good cadence of communications and things that we know we can deliver. But we'll never say, "Oh, we're going to go do a metaverse." By the way, we have an island in the other side, and we're super excited for what Yuga Labs is building there, with the persistent other side coming next month. But we're not going to be like, "Oh yeah, we're going to go do this." We're not going to be Disney of the. Yeah, we're not going to say we're going to be Disney of the Web3. We're not going to be like this. No, we're the Meebits, and we're doing things a day at a time. And what you see is what you get right now. And obviously, are we working on a lot of cool stuff in the background? Yeah, sure. But we've learned from watching others wreck themselves and their reputation, that as much, I have a merch drop that is incredible. It's designed. I wish I could show you guys, because it's awesome. I really like it, with a really, really cool partner. But that drops in October, right? And so yeah, I could
Is it only for holders, or everyone can participate?
Everyone can participate.
I'm going to be ordering that.
And so, but you see, if I could show a preview, I could tease it, but then let's say something happens in the factory where those are going to be made, goes out of business, and I can't deliver by September, right? Then it's creating a liability. I think a lot of the Web3 projects early on, they did not understand business, and they created a lot of intangible liabilities by making promises. And so we're not going to do that. And people at some point say "Oh, nothing's happened for a month." Cool. Like
But
it's,
wait,
it's
what the economics then for Meebits? Can you please explain? Because I don't understand. You don't want to launch new collection. You giving people money for their holding NFT. So bits tokens they receiving for just
they're
holding.
not tokens, they're points. There's a loyalty and reward system.
So yeah, how you planning to actually earn money from your
Yeah,
project? Definitely.
and we're doing drops of other kind, right? So we did a wearables drop with Player Zero. We have a couple of really cool physical drops coming up, as I mentioned this year. We also have a lot of other digital drops that we're planning. We did an art drop that was a free claim. But one thing our community asks us a lot is like, we love art. Can you bring us exclusive access to art pieces or art drops? And so we're finding ways, and it's Web3 is, for me, it's 3W. It's win, 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 right? Like the artist or the project can win, the collector can win, and the platform can win. So for example, we're working with an art gallery right now. And again, I don't want to say too much. I don't want people to be like, oh, you said that like 2 weeks ago, and these things take a lot of time. Like web stuff takes so much longer than like degens are used to, right? But it's Web3
When
is
art gallery, Sergito? When art gallery?
and it's like, the artist has to create, and it's like artists are not, obviously we have Fair here on the line, like they're not people that you just be like, hey, go make this for me right now. Like maybe they can pull it off, but it's not really who they are. And so like being able to create those things, and we'll be able to do digital art drops where the collectors have a choice to participate. That choice will come obviously with paying the artist for their art, and then obviously the gallery makes money in those ways, and then Meepco will make some money from that. So that's just more traditional um, brand with product, rather than like some sort of alchemy situation where we like make up money out of thin air and then just drop it to people and then hope they spend it back on us. Like that, to me, that doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah, people also asking when gallery. By the way, it would be cool to see this type of gallery, like oh my God, Murakami has like with his 3D sculptures and everything like this. It's really awesome idea, by the way. So
That'd be great. I'll tell you what, like people are like, when Lego, when toys, everyone's like, when toys. Like even just a regular toy takes about 12 months from ideation to like product delivery. Like it is insane. It takes so long. Like we're working on something that has to do with plush. 6 months. I was like, oh yeah, we'll have it by like July, and they're like, no, you might have like a sample that we can use for the factory. And I'm like, what are we talking about? They're like, oh, this is maybe makes it for Christmas, and we're like, and so I think it's also a business I have no background in, so we're learning a lot. But I also think that, a lot of the people in the space are like, well, how come you're not, doing it quicker? And it's like, bro, I am trying. We are. I will get there. But yeah, so that's why, we're super happy with the integration with Player Zero. You can enjoy your Meebits, use them in games. We'll have different ways for people to learn how to animate their Meebits and make their own scenes with Bailey, our creative director, putting together like a toolkit that people can just use, those that don't really have a lot of Blender experience, and different community initiatives in that sense. And so, and we're making the podcast. We're bringing on really cool guests to talk about different things. And yeah, like if you buy a Meebit, we're there on the Twitter, we're there on the Discord, and yeah, happy to welcome you all. I realize we're way past time, so I don't want to take time away from Fair.
I
already finished.
Yeah.
Oh, show us. By the way, we're both drinking Metti this whole time, huh?
No way, for real.
Yeah, for real.
Wait, what is that?
It's
Where are you from?
stuff. It's not okay, guys.
I'm Argentine, but we drink a lot of Metti.
I drink every day this. I'm from Argentina.
You see, there we go. We got class and culture.
That's nice. That's nice. I'm so happy
I got
to
a
share the
mutant.
Virtumati with you.
Hey,
That's it. It's
cool.
mutant.
Wait, hold up. Sergito, do you like anime?
I like Dragon Ball Z, but not
Yes!
anime itself. But yes, I like it.
Okay, dope. That's close.
So I'm gonna show you the picture that we saw in your
Oh my
X
God.
account. So it's
My
this
mom
one.
loved that picture. I sent it to her. She's like, you have to post it. La tienes que postear.
I don't know who found this picture, and so I create your pixel art, which is this one.
Wow, look at me. I
Hey!
got the cheeks. I was blushing earlier.
So instead of
And the
masters, it
sword.
sass master.
Love that.
And I,
Dope.
I
That's
have another
amazing.
option, so you can choose with the mid-bit, ¿cómo se dice? Gorra? Cap?
Hat. Yeah, cap hat.
Hat. Or you can have this color for hair.
I think I'll take the hat. It goes better with my
Okay,
eyes.
okay. Okay, cool.
That's amazing. I can't believe you did that while we were just like yapping away about meats.
Yeah.
While drinking Metti too, it's really
Okay.
good. I was watching
know,
your screen while you were making it. It was dope.
I'm doing a sommelier, like a course of mate. It's gonna take me 11 months to understand everything about
See,
mate.
things take
Yeah.
time, people.
Well, I would never.
We had an 18 karat gold necklace made. We made a necklace, we made a pendant, we made a bottle, we made a cap for the bottle that had a 18 karat gold insert in the cap. I think it took 5 months to make it. And at first I thought it was going to take like 5 weeks max. But the production for this stuff IRL, things just don't move as fast as Web3 moves.
Yeah.
Like no matter what.
I've been working on that trading card game. I mentioned it before with you, Sergito, but it started in October and it's still not. I don't have a working sample in between all working with all these artists and stuff.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, good
much
things
much
take
power
time.
to everybody that's watching, that's building something that has a physical component. It is, my previous job too was like finance, so we were just working with like monopoly money. It was like made a call, buy $100 million worth of this. Okay, you're done, and then hang up the phone, and that was done. And now it's like, oh yeah, we gotta get it to the factory in Vietnam, and I'm like, what? Yeah, so.
By the way, it's
Ways-
interesting question from the audience. Can I ask? Do you have some time still?
Yeah, sure. Having a good time.
The question is about AI. Will you use it somehow in your work, because it's interesting for me? And now
Yes,
it's
so-
developing crazy. Have you saw these videos with AI? Like you can't understand right now that it's AI or not. So
yeah, I'm designing myself a virtual girlfriend with AI. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We did our birthday art drop with an artist called Noper. So we commissioned him for 3 pieces, and he does text to video art. And the theme was celebration in Metropolis, because it was the Meebit's 4th birthday. They're amazing artwork. You can find it on OpenSea, on their Meeps art, or just searching our Twitter account. I love AI art. I think AI is a tool, and it's an incredible tool. I think that helps unlock a new layer of creativity for people like myself, right? Like I can't draw. I mean, I could never do what Ferg did. It would take me like 5 days, even if I had to like paint by numbers. I would mess it up. But the fact that I can now at least, create some visual images of my ideas in my head, like an AI girlfriend, is incredible. And I think it's going to unlock so much more creativity, so much more art. It's going to give people a huge ability to create. And I think it's going to make the world much more beautiful, because we're going to have much more art. Now, obviously, certain population of artists are not too pro AI. There's obviously some concerns about, the models using works without providing, credit or payment for the inspiration and the training and so on. That's a gray area that I, unfortunately don't know too much about, and I definitely understand the concerns. But it's clear that we're going in one direction, and I see it in myself, like the fact that I can go and like create images with just telling the computer words, I think it's also like a dream come true, right? I mean, it's and I can't imagine, for example, where I grew up in Mexico, with very different access to technology and resources, like for kids to like be able to like maybe do it on their phone even, or like the computer at school, and be like, hey, even stuff like, I imagine like the sun like this, like that, and like being able to see it made, that is incredibly powerful. So I'm extremely positive, the long-term impact of AI, but like every new technology, it will have its drawbacks. Like the internet, right? You can use it today for really cool things, but there's also a lot of really bad things that happen on the internet. So it's just an extension of human nature, and unfortunately, we all have a dark side.
I've
Yeah,
got
I like
a
that.
serious question.
Yeah, everyone's super active when we talk about AI. I have ChatGPT boyfriend, and I know that Hunt hates Chat, or not ChatGPT, but AI, because you all
I
the time
don't,
click it. And
I
I feel
don't hate AI. I hate what it's being used for, is what I hate. I hate, and I love privacy, which unfortunately we're giving up a lot with AI. But like, even just watching Fur work, right? Like, she's using an iPad, she's using a stencil, she's using layering tools. Like back in the day, if there was a traditional artist counting the brushstrokes on a painting, they would have thought that was blasphemy, right? Like, that's not real art. It's digital art. It's not the same. Like, they would have had those same conversations that we're having now about AI. So like, I don't hate AI. I really liked Sergito's answer, actually. But I hate the idea of an AI boyfriend or girlfriend. Yeah. What the fuck? Like, take a Meti course and meet someone, okay?
What
It's
what
okay.
ethnicity is everyone choosing for their AI girlfriend? Just to clarify.
Oh my God. Oh,
Okay, this is that definitely took a turn.
okay, we have a
Sergito,
joke.
did you choose a Spanish AI girlfriend? Or did you go out of the box?
Me? No,
Yeah,
no, I like white chicks.
yeah.
Um, Anyways, we're not gonna go down my personal life. It's been tumultuous the last few years. But I will say something, and God, I can't really want to say this, but OnlyFans. Bear with me here for a second. OnlyFans, right? It's it makes like $8 billion a year or whatever. It's created a whole industry out of certain type of creators, and people always ask like, well, why are you paying? I don't pay for it, but like, why are people paying for pictures that you can find online, right? Like pornography is free online, and there's any kind of pornography you want. And once you dig deeper into it, because we did this for my previous startup, which was a social media app, the people are paying money on OnlyFans to communicate with the creators, and they build this false sense of relationship and intimacy where they just want somebody to listen to them and to talk to them and to reply to them. And okay, I'm not going to tell you my strip club story, but I'll stop right there. It's that's with AI.
No, tell us. That's
Oh my God.
Alba. I can imagine, time codes already on YouTube. Like, we're talking
Okay, fine. Real quick.
Now we know what he's doing about 50 reasons. Now we know exactly where they're fucking going.
That's a real utility.
There's
Okay.
about to be a whole bunch of strippers with a MetaMask for Phantom tomorrow.
We do have a Meebit girlfriend in the team. We just love her. She's
I'm fucking dead.
She's a really good looking Meebit. What do you want me to do? We look at these things the whole day. We're like, that's a really good looking Meebit. My strip club story. Okay, this is okay. Bear with me. I was broke as fuck until I started working at Wall Street. Like super broke, kind of like can of beans for dinner in college every night. My older friend had shown me that there was a strip club near my college in San Antonio, Texas, where you could have steak and fries lunch for $4.99, and the soft drinks were 99 cents. Now, at the time, there was no cover charge, especially because it was during the day. And so instead of paying $8-9 for like a lunch in the cafeteria or somewhere else, you would pay literally $6 plus the $2 tip and get steak and fries. It wasn't the best quality steak, but it was steak and fries, Coke, and a little bit of a show. And so we ended up spending a lot of time having lunch at Sugar's over those 2 semesters before Texas passed a law requiring a cover fee, a cover charge that just completely, turned the economics upside down for us. Now, being there a lot of the time, especially around 1 p.m., where there was not a lot of, it got really busy around payday. A lot of construction workers will come in to spend their paychecks immediately. But 2-3 days after payday will really slow down in the afternoons. You get to talk a lot with the performers. And we befriended a lot of them. And one of the things that really stood out to me, and I will never forget it, was they would tell me about the man that would come and spend a lot of money. And it was just to talk. I'm like, there's no way somebody likes, an hour of just another person dancing. They're like, no, they just want to talk. They want to talk about their life. They want to talk about their friends, their kids, their problems. Like nobody listens to them. And so people built pseudo relationships with certain performers or clubs where they, like within the club walls and during a specific period of time, it was like your girlfriend, even though they weren't. And guys will refer to them as such. And so, obviously now looking at OnlyFans, same thing. People pay the $5 a month access fee to see the pictures. Again, those pictures are free everywhere else. But then if you really look at the fee structure and how much money these people make sometimes, it's from the messaging function where, guys are coming in like, hey, my day, how was your day? How's it been? Yada, yada, yada. And now I think AI is really going to disrupt that. And I actually think that's probably one of the reasons why the founder and owner of OnlyFans is looking to sell it. Because the real money maker for OnlyFans is that digital companionship, which, by the way, these chicks that lived in Miami for a few months last year. I met a few. They're not just sitting in their computer chatting with like 30 dudes across the world who think they're their digital girlfriends. It's some random dude in an emerging market that's like using that. Now they're using AI to like make it sound like the girl actually. Yep. And so that's why having lunch at a strip club during college has taught me about the future of AI companionship.
Yeah,
Bet you were not expecting that one.
I was not expecting that one. I was not expecting that
me
one. I'm not
neither.
gonna lie.
It's a good one, huh?
You went from artificial
Story.
body parts to artificial intelligence real fucking quick. And I just didn't know.
That's how
And I'm old.
when guys joke like it's better for you to create OnlyFans, of course, just as a joke. I said like I have no inner power to emotionally serve people because it's easier to actually work than emotionally serve people and talk with them and everything. So respect to girls who are doing it actually, because it's took like a lot of it's exhausting. I believe like it's highly exhausting. So
I think what he's trying to tell us is that we should buy a female Meebit. We should tap into the ELIZA protocol and open source some sort of AI girlfriend type of thing where she could speak to people in Twitter DMs, in whatever, some Patreon type of method. And because it's 3D voxelized and you can get the file, we can have her perform, right? Sergito, are you guiding us on how to create a brand and monetize our Meebits? Will we earn bits for creating an AI girlfriend with a Meebit?
we also have Adeka who is creating good AI, with style.
I will plug in our AI partnership right now.
What do you got?
Think Agents. They're doing.
Oh, I saw that announcement.
Yes,
that was dope.
yes, for privacy. Yeah, so local models with
like
Think
that.
Agents, and you can use your Meebit as the body of our agent. Now, hunt whatever kind of fantasy and deranged situation you want to go and live out through AI. Man, I am a capitalist. You buy it on OpenSea, so we get the royalties. You can go and do whatever you want.
I was about to say I'm a Catholic, bro. I was about to die laughing.
I was born a Catholic, but I have not really practiced that lately. I'm just hoping that my grandma prays as much as she does for me, and that works. All right, I gotta run, guys, because this is just first. I'm just worried about what's gonna happen 5 minutes from now.
Like, do you have 5 minutes?
My god!
Okay.
Yes, but no more strip club, OnlyFans, turning Meebits into table dancer conversations.
Okay, we have blitz for you. You need to just answer quickly, and then that's it. We will over. So, first, full doxing for you or full undoxing for like everyone. If you could choose only one option.
like, I mean, I'm fully doxxed, so I feel like
No,
I
but
chose
would you
the-
want everyone to be
Yes,
fully doxxed, or
it's
would you
for
want no
everyone.
one to be
No,
doxxed?
I love that people can represent who they really think they are. I think actions and words through time really tell you who the person behind the avatar is. So it's just a really cool exercise to like find out after a while who people are, in the sense of like their essence, not who they physically KYC are. So I on docs will be pretty cool.
Okay, centralization or decentralization? You can pick only one side.
These are not yes or no questions. Come on. I
I
mean,
know, I know.
it depends on what, right? If we're talking about national security, then I want centralization. If we're talking
Of
about
course,
if we're
yeah.
talking about CryptoPunks, some centralization. And if we're talking about DeFi, then decentralization. So
For everything, just pick one and no explanation.
centralization.
Okay. What would you say to Satoshi Nakamoto if you would meet him?
Send me your private key.
Okay, then last thing is we're recording messages from founders to themselves in a year. So record message right now for yourself in a year, and then you will back maybe to this video and we'll see this again.
Oh my God, it's too big on my monitor. It's kind of scary. Oh, my hair looks good today, though, at least. Man,
Your
I'm
hair
getting
looks
gray.
good.
Yeah, no, it looks good. All right. Well, message to myself. Oh, I just saw the sushi face. It's kind of weird. All right. In English or Spanish?
Nothing weird, come on.
A little weird. It's like staring at me coming out of like a sushi roll. I had sushi for lunch.
Oh my God,
Is
it's
it-
day old sushi from the strip club.
Sorry.
I never had the sushi at the strip club. I'll tell you that. Just the steak and the fries. It's $3.99, $4.99, whatever it was. All right. So you are working on making MeBits one of the preeminent NFT collections and brands in the world. A year from now, as you're watching this, you will have achieved the goals that you have set out for your team. And if you haven't, you will take the lessons learned and apply them to make sure that a year from now, you can achieve everything that you wanted to achieve. You will continue to honor the legacy of Matt and John, as well as build really cool, fun utility for the MeBits in their community. How's that?
Beautiful.
Yeah, pretty general, you know.
That feels like a no
I told you my strip club story. What else do you want? The strip dance? Jesus.
Yeah, that one was good. That one was good. Okay. Thank
You
so
just
much.
mad that I called out the little sushi thingy.
Yes.
I can stop staring at it now. It's like right there. Like,
If you were a token, Ira, he would Sir G you. Literally.
enough.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for your time. It was awesome.
That was it?
Great.
You
Laughed
got
a lot.
one more?
If you
No, I'm gonna see you in New York, bro. I'm gonna register
Yes,
for the
please.
event.
Come by to we're gonna have a really cool we just put up to save the date, but we have a really awesome partner.
Wait.
Yes.
Wait.
I
Last
am
thing.
waiting.
Because we having a great artist on the stage with us, and we're planning to put her art on Singular, and it will be a limited amount, like 10 on the exemplars, and you can buy one. And the feature of Singular that at the end of the mint, when the item is minted, everyone participated in raffle. So whoever will buy it, you will participate in raffle to receive and the prize is to receive 1-to-1 PFP in your fair collection, right? Everything is good.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, then any last words from you may be fair then if we talking about you right now. Last words from everyone.
I love you. You guys are awesome. Sergito, it's been an honor to talk.
Why you watched at me like you mad at me, fair? What's wrong? Wait. I can't like if man mad at me, I don't care. But if woman, I just shaken. Wait. All is good?
If you're
You
in New
said from
York,
me. Oh.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
from
Yeah.
go on.
Me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Last
just
word,
final
I
word.
had a lot of fun. I really like to be in this streaming
Thanks,
with you
guys.
all. It's my first streaming, so thank you so much for the invite.
It was
It,
awesome. Thank you so much.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's great
The
to
art,
have you.
the art is great. Yeah. Okay. Then last words to Talf.
I'm just going to say, if you go in New York, don't get hit by a stranger. I remember Sergito sharing that story once, getting attacked by a stranger, so be careful.
I will.
Okay. And
I got punched in the face, but that's for another day.
I'm sorry. I was not
punch
the stream.
you
It
in the
wasn't me.
face.
It
I
wasn't
am
me.
39 years old. Like, I have a lot of life and a lot of stories. And I'm Mexican. Like, we're like the comedians of North America. Like, our life is just funny. So, yes. Anyways, last words, Hunt.
I love you. Thanks for taking the time to come chill with us. We really appreciate your support at Singular. You've been here with us from day one. You've been amazing. I can't wait to launch V2 and have everyone check it out. And we'll see you next stream.
Now your turn.
Me?
Yeah.
I think I've said way too much for the last 90 minutes, so I don't have a lot left to say except thank you for having me. If anybody's on the fence about joining the Meebits community, my DMs are open. Happy to chat. Happy to answer any questions. We also have people in the Discord that walk you through there's a lot of different traits, a lot of different lore and things. And so we have a newsletter. It's linked on our Twitter. If you just want to stay like abreast of the stuff that we're putting out, it's a lot. Like our Twitter, it's being very active. Sign up. You'll get it every Thursday. And Ira, are you German?
No, I'm Russian, but I live in Balkans right now.
Okay, I don't know how to say thank you in Russian, so I'm not going to do that. What's Hunt doing? But thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And Tal, thank you so much for inviting me. This has been a lot of fun. And Fer, thanks for the art. That looks amazing.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
it was an amazing time. Okay, guys, bye. Everyone who watched us, thank you so much for your attention. Thank you so much for everything. And you'll find the recording on this episode on YouTube with time codes. So